Make sure my microphone is on. Yep, it's on, hopefully. Alright, so welcome, you motherfuckers, to the fucking second episode of the Hardyac Wrestling Podcast. I just filmed a shit ton of shit without my microphone being on, so nobody heard me, and that's pissing me the fuck off! Anyway, welcome. Today, I wanted to put in a cheap plug before we got everything started. If you have any questions for me to ask on the next podcast, which is the Hardyac Wrestling Podcast, episode number 3, send them to unitards@gmail.com, UNITARDZZ at gmail.com, UNITARDZZ at gmail.com, and I will answer them on the next podcast. Today we get into Seth Rollins' advantage for Battleground, Bray Wyatt, the Child Masseuse, Neville and Kofi Kingston's feud for Battleground, possibly. The Bella Twins needing to lose the Divas title quick. Summer Rae and Rusev versus Lana and Dolph Ziggler. Big Show bullied, Ryback on top, and The Miz is nowhere to be found. King Barrett and R-Truth is doing nothing. Tyson Kidd is out for 14 months, and what the hell is Adam Rose doing on my TV screen, as well as my own personal question, because nobody asked any questions for this week. But once again, if you have any questions, please send them to unitards@gmail.com, and I will answer them in the next podcast. First off, we start out with Seth Rollins' advantage for Battleground. Now, as you would see from Monday Night Raw, as I also addressed on my Monday Night Raw review, Seth Rollins and the Authority beat down on Brock Lesnar, and it really stood out that they targeted his left leg. Kane and Seth Rollins took out Brock Lesnar's left leg when he was attacking both of them, as well as Kane hitting smashing a steel chair onto the left leg of Brock Lesnar, possibly giving Seth Rollins an advantage for Battleground. And what does this really mean? Well, let's see. If you really think about it, Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar, that's kind of the same type of ending you would think in that match as you would have seen from John Cena and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. You wouldn't think, oh, John Cena couldn't beat Brock Lesnar on his own. How can Seth Rollins do that? Well, I think this was their way of saying, all right, this is how Seth Rollins is going to beat Brock Lesnar, because he's going to beat Brock Lesnar, but this is how we want it to make it look. We want to make it look realistic. Well, first off, what they can do, and what they did do, was they injured Brock Lesnar's leg, which pretty much entailed that Seth Rollins has a target on Brock Lesnar. He has a weakness that he has found on Brock Lesnar, and he can use that to his advantage and hopefully get him a win at Battleground. Now, what does this entail? Well, it means that Seth Rollins quite possibly could beat Brock Lesnar on his own. And that means the Beast looks weakened. He looks human. Even though he doesn't look like a beast, he looks human. But when you're human, you're not immortal. You're mortal. There are parts where you can get injured. You can get hurt, and Brock Lesnar got hurt. So now Seth Rollins has an advantage. He found a weakness on Brock Lesnar that could help him get farther in that match and not get killed. He can take out that leg of Brock Lesnar. He can beat it down with a steel chair. If this just turns out into a no disqualification match, he can beat down Brock Lesnar at any point in that match by targeting that left leg, and in turn make sure that Brock Lesnar is not able to use that leg. So therefore, he takes some advantages away from Brock Lesnar. That F5 is taken out. Most of his running maneuvers are taken out. His clotheslines are taken out because he's going to stumble on that leg. He can't do any, jumping maneuvers. He can't do any type of leaping maneuvers. He can't do any running, really. So if Seth Rollins wants to have Brock Lesnar chase him around the ring, he can do that, and that'll wear down Brock Lesnar's leg, and that'll hurt Brock Lesnar's leg, and that will give Seth Rollins an advantage, and that will help Seth Rollins take down the Beast. And I kind of like the thing they're doing with Brock Lesnar and with Seth Rollins, and I kind of don't. They could have been more. They could have had it drawn out a little bit better. They could have had something along the lines of Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar have the match be a Falls Count Anywhere match, and he plans spots around the arena where Brock Lesnar can get attacked by the Authority or can get put into traps, and in turn, Seth Rollins could beat Brock Lesnar in that case. But instead, they went the way of making Brock Lesnar mortal. It made him look less of a beast and more of a human, just a powerhouse. So, what does that do? Well, that takes away the momentum Brock Lesnar has as the beast, and that kind of just makes him the powerhouse. And therefore, now that he's weakened, it's easier for Seth Rollins to pick and chew. So instead of Brock Lesnar being the hunter and Seth Rollins being the prey or the hunted, it seems as though Brock Lesnar is weakened. He's injured. He's hurt. He's got a weakness, and he's kind of the prey right now. He's kind of a sitting duck. Yes, he can fend for himself, and that duck can bite the shit out of you if ducks had teeth. But in this case scenario, Brock Lesnar can defend himself. However, he's still a sitting duck when it comes to injury. I may be mumbling on or rambling on right now, but in this case scenario, I feel as though Seth Rollins has a weakness that he can display, or I'm sorry, Brock Lesnar has a weakness that Seth Rollins can utilize to win and beat Brock Lesnar. I think this is how they're going to build Seth Rollins beating Brock Lesnar at Battleground and retaining the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And then what comes next for Brock Lesnar, I don't know. I wouldn't plan, or I don't plan that far ahead. But one thing is for sure, the playing field is coming up even now. It's becoming more even and less unbalanced, like way less unbalanced. So, what is my hope for this? I'm gonna hope that Seth Rollins can utilize that weakness because that can tell a story. I mean, Seth Rollins finds a weakness in Brock Lesnar and he utilizes that to win and retain the championship, and then they both go their separate excuse me, their separate ways. I think they can tell a story with that if they were smart enough to do so. However, it all depends on the way they book it. So we're going to find out what they do from here on out, and we'll just have to wait and see because Battleground is in 4 weeks. So let's wait till Battleground and wait over the next few weeks and see how the storyline plays out. Bray Wyatt and his psychopathic ways of Roman Reigns, or getting to Roman Reigns on Raw. Roman Reigns was facing Sheamus, and it was an alright match. But Bray Wyatt showed up on the Titantron. Get out of the shot. Bray Wyatt got on the Titantron, made it look like he was having a tea party with Roman Reigns' daughter. Of course, they're not going to do that, but made it seem as though that was what was going on. That lured Roman Reigns into the backstage area to go in search of Bray Wyatt. Goes to the room Bray Wyatt was in, and there's a bunch of pictures of Roman Reigns with, I guess, his eyes cut out, or his mouth cut out, or his head cut out, or his tattoos are cut out, or whatever, all connected with red paint and everything, and says anyone but you. And I don't know what that means as though right now, but it's obviously Bray Wyatt's way of getting in the head of Roman Reigns. I don't understand what is going, or what the whole point of this is. I'm sorry, I shouldn't phrase it like that. I don't know where Bray Wyatt is going to get with this. He may be able to utilize that in the match that he has with Roman Reigns at Battleground, and that may be what he uses to win the match at Battleground if they build Bray Wyatt up to beat Roman Reigns at Battleground. But right now, I don't understand how this is supposed to kind of give Bray Wyatt an advantage. If you really understand what I mean, and I know you may not, but what I'm trying to say is I don't understand how these mind games are going to help Bray Wyatt in the long run when he comes into a match with Roman Reigns. I mean, is he going to be built to beat Reigns? Is Reigns going to be built to beat him? What is going on? We're going to find out at Battleground, and we're going to find out over the next few weeks, but until then, we can only wonder how this is going to help Bray Wyatt in the long run. I mean, yeah, he can use mind games during their match and kind of use Roman Reigns' daughter to play into those mind games, but I think right now it's going to be hard for Bray Wyatt to play his mind games against Roman Reigns during the match because Roman Reigns will be motivated to kick the shit out of Bray Wyatt during the match, and I don't think he'd really be focused on his daughter or his family or his personal life. I think he'll be focused on kicking the shit out of Bray Wyatt, and I don't think these mind games are going to lead up to a Bray Wyatt victory at Battleground. So I'm just trying to pick the pieces there, together and everything. I'm really hoping that we get this storyline to advance farther and become um, more of an easier way to get Bray Wyatt to beat Roman Reigns. I want Bray Wyatt to beat Roman Reigns. I don't want to see Roman Reigns beat Bray Wyatt, especially considering the way they've been building up Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. I don't think the way they've been building up Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt is going to lead to a Roman Reigns victory. And if it does lead to a Roman Reigns victory, then what the hell was this whole Bray Wyatt mind game shit over the past few weeks if it's not going to help him in the long run? I hope you know what I mean. What I'm trying to say, I guess, is the only way that playing these mind games would make any sense in the long run would be if Bray Wyatt won. But I don't want Roman Reigns to win, because then it just absolutely destroys the whole purpose of the mind game of the past few weeks. And I like the way that Bray Wyatt is doing these mind games. It's kind of like a natural creepiness, a natural, I don't know, natural mind games. And it's kind of as though Bray Wyatt is getting built up to be something again. And if he loses to Roman Reigns at Battleground, then I don't see what the purpose of mind games were for, and I don't see what the purpose of giving Bray Wyatt a storyline with Roman Reigns is, other than to put Bray Wyatt back on TV and give Roman Reigns the storyline. So that's my complaint with that, and that's my hopes for that feud. Next we have my next topic, which I guess is kind of interesting. We've got Neville and Kofi Kingston, a possible feud for Battleground. Over the past few weeks, it seems as though Xavier Woods and Big E are going to be the ones to team up against the Primetime Players in hopes of regaining the Tag Team Championships at Battleground. Excuse me. Now, instead of giving Kofi Kingston just this whole ringside duty, and just having him show up just to cheer on the New Day, why not do something you did at Money in the Bank and give him a feud / a storyline? And I think what they've been doing with Neville over the past few weeks, first they had him team up with the Primetime Players to face the New Day, and now they had him face Kofi Kingston of the New Day. It seems as though he's going to feud against one of the members of the New Day, and it seems as though Kofi Kingston is going to be the one to do so. The reason being is because the New Day, I see the New Day being one of those teams that wants to avenge themselves when they fuck up or make a mistake. And I feel as though since Xavier Woods and Big E lost the Tag Team Championships at Money in the Bank, they want to avenge themselves and win them back at the Battleground pay-per-view. But if that's the case, then what's Kofi Kingston going to do other than cheer on the New Day? Nothing. Now, since you have an up-and-coming star in Neville, and he's not doing anything at the moment, why not have him feud with Kofi Kingston and give Kofi Kingston a purpose for showing up? I think that could work out. Or, I guess the less interesting or less professional way to go about it is if you have Neville cheer on the Primetime Players and Kofi Kingston cheer on the New Day, but in that case, it's not interesting. So why not have a Neville versus Kofi Kingston feud at Battleground? I think that would be great. And I think it'd go over for about a month or two, and then it could end, and then they can go their separate ways. But until then, I like the idea of a Kofi Kingston versus Neville feud, especially considering they're two great high flyers, two very interesting characters, and two very agile competitors. And I think matching those two up is kind of like cat versus dog. No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't bring animals into it. But I think it would be something as though like a Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior type pairing. And I don't mean like one is as good as Hulk Hogan and one is as good as Ultimate Warrior, but I mean Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. You put them in different feuds, all right, I guess they're all right. But if you put them together, they can have a good feud. They had a good match. And I think, they're two forces that make a pairing, make a good pairing. And I think Neville and Kofi Kingston are two forces that can also make a good pairing. So let's hope for a Kofi Kingston versus Adrian Neville feud because I mean they can have a great match, they can have a great feud, and they can do other things or they can do Kofi Kingston can do things other than tag along with the New Day. I mean he can tag along with the New Day in some aspects of any situation, but he can also do his own thing as well while other members of the New Day do their own things while being a part of the New Day. And Neville is obviously not a part of the Primetime Players right now, or and he shouldn't be. He should not be. But I think since he's just alone and he needs another storyline, I think Kofi Kingston can be the one guy to give him another storyline, but also have it make a good storyline and have a bunch of good matches. So that's my hope for that. Let's just hope for it. Next up, we have the Bella Twins uh, and Alicia Fox, I guess. It seems as though the Divas division is going to split into two, and it's going to be this whole I guess, force versus another force. And it's going to be Team Bella Twins versus Team Page. Kind of like a Survivor Series elimination tag team match. Like you would see one team versus the other team. And it's not that kind of, it's not like a pairing you would normally think of or normally see. It's kind of a pairing that is just put together, out of these two guys have a feud, and these guys have a feud, and these two teams have a feud, and this guy has a feud. So why not put those good guys together and have the bad guys together and have them face off? I think it's kind of like that, except not with that whole plot behind it. I think instead of having these two divas have a feud, and these two divas have a feud, and these two tag team of the divas have a feud, and these two teams have a feud. I think instead of those excuse me, I'm sorry. Instead of that whole plot behind it, I think they're just gonna have it be as one team sides with the Bellas and one team sides with Paige, and then they go into a tag team match where they break forces or whatever, and one faces the other for the Divas title, and then they win the title for their respective team or their respective squad. I think that's the way that the WWE is starting to do it, especially with having Alicia Fox side with the Bellas and having Naomi and Tamina lose to the Bellas, but also kind of realizing that Paige may be right. I think that may lead into a Paige, Tamina, and Naomi versus Nikki Bella, Brie Bella, and Alicia Fox, teaming. And don't get me started with the whole Alicia Fox and the Bella Twins pairing. I don't think they mix. And Alicia Fox really has never mixed with anybody. She's kind of always been that lone wolf, somebody who is normally thought of as a singles competitor, not as a team competitor. But this whole pairing with her and the Bella Twins makes no sense. That's usually the case with a lot of these diva storylines. These two teams this diva wants to side with this diva out of nowhere. She just helps her win a match. And that's kind of all the divas do when it comes to siding with somebody or pairing with somebody or breaking away from somebody. And that's just showing how little thought and how little effort the WWE puts into the divas storylines, which is, of course, sad. But I understand if you want to have Alicia Fox side with the Bellas, if you are going to make this whole Paige's team versus the Bella Twins team. I understand that. But I don't like the way they're building it up. If that's the case, you should have had one diva. It should have been obvious that one of the divas was going to side with either Paige or the Bella Twins on Raw. Yeah, you had Naomi and Tamina Snuka lose to the Bella Twins, which is, I guess, fine. And maybe that signals that Naomi and Tamina are going to side with Paige, but you should have made it more obvious on Raw. I mean, I think you have enough divas to kind of have a in every broadcasted episode of any WWE television. I think you have enough divas to have, all right, well, she joined this side on Raw, and she joined this side on SmackDown, and she joined this side on the other Raw, and then she joined this side on SmackDown, then she joins this side on the next Raw, and she joins this side on the next SmackDown, and then that leads up to Battleground. I think that's how you should have done it, but you should have, if Naomi and Tamina are going to side with Paige, you should have made it more obvious than just having them lose to the Bella Twins. Um, I hope you understand what I mean. Um, but I think that's what we're going to get at Battleground. Instead of a Paige versus Nikki Bella match for the Divas Championship at Battleground, we're going to get a Paige's team versus Bella Twins team at Battleground. And that's just depressing. Anyway, jumping into the next topic, we have Summer Rae and Rusev and Lana and Dolph Ziggler. All right. I understand this whole plot. Lana and Rusev are in an argument. Lana leaves Rusev. Lana goes to Dolph Ziggler. Rusev throws a fit. Somebody else sides with Rusev, and we get this whole team versus team match instead of something that should have been just one person versus one person. So instead of Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev, you had to add Lana and Summer Rae. I understand where the plot is going with this and what the plot is supposed to mean behind this. I understand that. Yeah, whatever. But what I don't like, what I don't enjoy from this is that out of everything in the world, to give Rusev a storyline, we had to give him Dolph Ziggler, which is perfectly fine. I would be fine with the Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev storyline. But we had to side Lana with Dolph Ziggler, which I guess is what kind of glues this feud together. But then you add Summer Rae to Rusev to even the odds. And you had something going so well. Whereas Rusev would think, I need to win Lana back, so I need to beat Dolph Ziggler. I need to kick Dolph Ziggler's ass, and I need to end Dolph Ziggler in order to get Lana back. You could have done that, but now, with Summer Rae on Rusev's side, it's kind of like, oh, well, if Lana's not worth it and I have you, why would I need Lana? Why would I need to fight Dolph Ziggler? So now the storyline, if you're going to have Rusev face Dolph Ziggler, which it looks like he's going to face Dolph Ziggler when he comes back, now you just made the storyline confusing and idiotic, moronic, and just completely, excuse me, making no sense. Why would Rusev go after Lana, or whoever has Lana, except for revenge? In this case, it doesn't really mean revenge anymore, because if you have Summer Rae on Rusev's side, then he would need to fight for Lana because he has Summer Rae, and then Rusev wouldn't. I'm trying to make sense of this. Rusev wouldn't go after Lana because he would have Summer Rae, and he wouldn't need revenge because now he has Summer Rae instead of Lana. So why would he need a revenge? Oh, his revenge. This would be his revenge. Oh, Lana left me. Well, guess what? Now I have Summer Rae. I don't need you anymore. Summer Rae took your place, so I don't need Lana. I have Summer Rae now, which makes no sense because then if you have this whole storyline, if that were the case, then Rusev wouldn't face Dolph Ziggler. He'd go off in his own way. He wouldn't bother having Lana. But obviously, he's going to have Dolph Ziggler, so the only way that it could be paired together now is if he would go for revenge. But revenge doesn't matter now because he has Summer Rae, so that's revenge enough on Lana. He doesn't need Lana anymore because he has another chick. So that's his own revenge, which makes this whole storyline stupid. I don't understand what the WWE is trying to do, and this storyline with Rusev and Dolph Ziggler and Lana is just making no sense. And not to mention, why would Summer Rae be interested in Rusev? She's an American. She's a blonde. She likes the summer. She speaks American. She speaks American. She speaks in an American accent. She doesn't like Russia at all. So why would somebody who's a Russian Bulgarian brute who wants to destroy America, who wants to absolutely diminish everything the USA stands for, or everything the US stands for. He hates America, hates everything about America. So why would he need an American girl? And why would Summer be attracted to Rusev? He's fucking Russian. He's hefty. He's got it seems like he has a mullet. He wears the fucking Russian flag. He doesn't speak American. American is not his first language. He only learned American because he lives in America. And he works in America. So now, I want to get off this topic before we go crazy or everything. Next up, we have the topic of this doesn't make anything any better. This is probably gonna be a shorter podcast because I'm losing my fucking mind. Um. Anyway, next up, I'm gonna talk a little bit about this, just a little bit. Big Show being bullied, right back on top, and Miz is nowhere. All right, Miz, nowhere to be found on Monday Night Raw. Adios, crossdresser. Ryback kicks Big Show's ass, and now Ryback is the Intercontinental Champion, and he's the whole big guy. I'm the best. Oh, this makes no sense. And no matter how much hype you give it, I don't think this feud or this match at Battleground can be anything good. You have the Big Show, you have the Miz, and you have Ryback. Ryback, I don't have a problem with him, and the Miz, I don't have a problem with him. But you have Big Show. And the Miz doesn't belong to this feud. It's between Ryback and Big Show, two people who combine for over, I'd say, 600 pounds, against a guy who weighs just about 200 pounds, if 200 pounds, maybe 180, 185, 190, I don't know. What the Miz weighs is pretty much, I don't even know if it's a third of what the Big Show and Ryback weigh, or even less of a third. Or less than a third of what the Big Show and Ryback combined to. It's kind of like Ryback. It was kind of like Daniel Bryan defending the world title against the Big Show and Mark Henry in a steel cage match at the Royal Rumble in 2011, I want to say, or 2012. It's stupid. It makes no sense. And they both had the Big Show in it. They both had a small guy in it. In this case, Daniel Bryan and The Miz. And they also had the other guy, Ryback and Mark Henry. Why? Wait a minute. I want to see if I can connect this whole thing together. All right. Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan, Big Show, Mark Henry. Battleground, Miz, Big Show, Ryback. Let's see. So you had Big Show in both matches. We had Big Show in both matches. Daniel Bryan and The Miz were The Miz was Daniel Bryan's pro on the season 1 of NXT, and Ryback and Mark Henry just fought each other on Raw. Not to mention, Ryback won the Intercontinental Championship after Daniel Bryan vacated it. The Miz fought no. What's The Miz and Mark Henry connected for? Oh, Mark Henry destroyed The Miz on his Hall of Pain run in 2012. And he did that to send a message to Daniel Bryan and the Big Show. And then let's see. What do Daniel Bryan and Mark Henry have in common? Oh, I'm sorry. Daniel Bryan and, shit. No. I think I've just connected everything. So it's pretty much a connection between those two matches. And, of course, they both have the Big Show. But this match for Battleground makes no sense. It has no hype, and I'm obviously not looking forward to it. I just talked a load of gibberish there, or crap there. So anyway, King Barrett and R-Truth doing nothing. Why have R-Truth and King Barrett in this feud, or in this storyline, or in this match at Battleground, or Money in the Bank if it's doing nothing? R-Truth is King What's Up, and King Barrett is just King. Fuck it, he's King My Career's Over. Which is pretty much the whole title for the King of the Ring. It shouldn't be King of the Ring. It should be King My Career is Over after this. I don't want to speak anymore about it. It's kind of like this whole treacherous territory that I don't want to cross because I'm just too. It make me too bored. Make me fall asleep on their territory line. Anyway, next up we have Tyson Kidd, who is going to be out for approximately 14 months. Apparently, Tyson Kidd has been injured. He had a full operation on his neck, and he will be out for approximately 14 months, which is, I guess, the real minimum for somebody who has that kind of operation on his neck. A few quick things. So Tyson Kidd and Cesaro's tag team is pretty much over now. And if it's not, what is Cesaro going to do now? I mean, if it's not over, then Cesaro can't be on television for a while, because then they'll think, oh, he's not in a Tyson Kidd and Cesaro team anymore. So Tyson Kidd and Cesaro will no longer be thought of as a tag team, and then Tyson Kidd will come back to nothing. Cesaro has nothing to do now if this tag team is now going to be dissolved. And it's just a bunch of confusion. I don't really want to talk much about it because I also don't know much about this injury. I only heard about it a while ago, and yeah. Another thing, Jamie Noble is out for for a while with 3 broken ribs that he suffered on Raw from his beatdown with Brock Lesnar. That is why Joey Mercury was in the ring to help Seth Rollins and Kane attack Lesnar, and Jamie Noble was not, which is why I was wondering where the hell is Jamie Noble during that segment. It's unclear how long Jamie Noble is going to be out for until then. We'll just go around that. And finally, what the hell is Adam Rose doing on my television screen? Why is Adam Rose and Rose? Why are Adam Rose and Rosa Mendez on my television screen with no storyline and no reason to be on there? If they're going to be advancement talent, then why pair Adam Rose and Rosa Mendez together? I don't understand, and it confuses me, and it makes me want to scratch my head, and it makes me want to go down to the WWE headquarters and ask for all the answers from Vince McMahon. Obviously, I'm not going to get all the answers. So, anyway. And now we have today's question. And once again, for those of you watching, for those of you who have a question to ask me, for those of you who have a question to ask me and want me to answer this question on next week's episode of the Hardyac Wrestling Podcast, send them to unitards@gmail.com. UNITARDZZ at gmail.com. So unitards@gmail.com. I will spell it out one more time. UNITARDZZ at gmail.com. Those of you who have a question, ask there. Send an email to that email asking your question. That question, of course, will be in the email. So the email will be the question. I will answer it next week on the 3rd episode of the Hardyac Wrestling Podcast. But until then, we have my own question, and that is, what would the WWE have to do to make me watch SmackDown again? I have 3 standards. First, it has to move back to Friday nights. Second, it has to move to the USA Network. And third, it has to be live. I don't like the fact that it is on the Sci-Fi Network, and it's been moved since, My TV 9. It's been moved from, Channel 8. It's been moved from many different networks. And now it's on Sci-Fi when Raw is on USA Network and Tough Enough is on USA Network. I've heard rumors that it's supposed to be moved back onto Friday nights. It's supposed to be live from now on, and it's supposed to be on the USA Network starting in 2016. I've never liked the fact that it's not live. I've always hated the fact that it's all the spoilers are given out, so it makes it feel like SmackDown is even less special or less important than it already is, and it's not very important. I want it to be treated like a brand instead of just a sidekick to Raw. And I think having it live would be the better way to do it and better way to go about it, because now you would have these wrestlers. I don't know. It give Raw. SmackDown has always been a wrestling show, and Raw has always been its entertainment counterpart. Raw has always been an entertainment part. SmackDown has always been the wrestling part. It's been post promos and storylines and everything. I just don't like SmackDown. I don't like it that it's back on Thursday because I've always been used to it being on Friday. I don't like that it's on a whole different network from USA or from Raw, and I don't like the fact that it's not live. Having it not be live means SmackDown is not important, and when it's spoiled by websites that put out spoilers for the editions of SmackDown, or when it's filmed on Tuesday nights and now put out on Thursday nights, the spoilers have already been put out, so everybody can go look up what's going to happen on SmackDown, and everybody can go ahead and just not watch SmackDown because they know everything that's going to happen. And yeah, it ruins it for me. I'm not a big guy when it comes to spoilers. Usually when spoilers occur, it doesn't really matter to me. Um, if I hear a spoiler on I guess The Walking Dead, if I ever want to watch The Walking Dead again, um, I was never that kind of guy where it would bug me. If I heard the spoiler, I'd be like, all right, fine. And I go watch the show and it wouldn't bother me. But I guess with SmackDown, it bothers me because it makes it feel like SmackDown's less important. That's my argument there. So with that, thank you for watching the podcast. I told you it was going to be a shorter episode of the podcast today. A few plugs: follow us or follow me on Twitch. It is UNITARDZZ. Follow me on Twitter at Zachary Sarah. Send your questions to unitards@gmail.com, UNITARDZZ at gmail.com. And all in all, of course, follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Zachary Sarah. That's it. At ZACHARYSERRA. And you will know anything that comes up. If I have to move the podcast to another day on a week, or if I have to move it to another time, or any of my scheduling differences, or anything, any news I have to put out, that's where it will all go to. That is where everything, like updates and anything that I'm going to be putting out soon, that is where all my updates go on Twitter. So follow that. Thank you very much. So without further ado, thank you for watching. I will be back either later in the week. I do know that I will be putting out a Raw review next Monday, and it will be live. And I do know that this will be, or the third episode of this podcast will be put out next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as of right now. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I am Zach Hardy, signing out.